we do have these spirits among us. We do have the divine within, the spirit of God the Father within us. But there is also the spirit that Jesus left us, which is the spirit of truth. When Jesus left, he didn't leave us alone. He gave us the spirit of truth, a living guide that personalizes his teachings for every soul. In this segment, we'll explore how this keeps Jesus alive, relevant, and closer than ever. So, Chris, what is the spirit of truth? Who is the spirit of truth? And why? Remember from the Gospels when I was in Sunday school that he always said that he was going to give us a gift. So what can you tell us about this?
Before I give you what I think the answer is, I have a question for everybody, and that is, if you're a lover of Jesus, which you probably are, wouldn't it be amazing to have been there with him during that time? Right? And I think we'd all say, of course, it would be wonderful. Wouldn't it be great to have him every day?
Yes,
You can.
it is.
You can. So what is the spirit of truth? The spirit of truth is like Jesus in every way except for his physical body. The spirit of truth is the individual projection of the person of Jesus inside your mind. I'll say it again. The spirit of truth is like Jesus in every way except for his physical body. So Jesus said he would be with us. Everyone thinks about, oh, when is the second coming? When is the second coming? In a sense,
He is with
it
us.
happened. In fact, the apostles made more spiritual progress with that spiritual truth in a matter of months than they did with all the years with Jesus. Because the spirit of truth also helps you recognize truth. Because, right, the truth will set you free. And what truth are you recognizing? You are recognizing the same truths that the Father taught Jesus. Jesus is just showing those to you. One of the primary missions of Jesus was as a spiritual teacher to liberate us. He continues to be the inner teacher, is the spirit of truth. The spirit of truth helps you to recognize truth, as John said in his writings. It helps the believer to recognize all truth, but it also helps you to express that truth in your own personal way, in your own time, and in the context. The spirit of truth helps you interpret the original teachings of Jesus for your time and place. The truths that Jesus taught are eternal. That will never change. But the way that you live the truths, the way that you express love and give love as he did, we learned in earlier segment, right, about the meaning of the death on the cross, the way you express that truth in your time is different for you. That's what the spirit of truth does. It provides, and when you are immersed in the very presence of the cosmic Christ, now we're talking about the cosmic Christ, not just Jesus of Nazareth. You are literally being held in a deep, deep embrace from Christ, the cosmic Christ, the resurrected Jesus. You're being held with all that cosmic energy and love and vision, everything. The spirit of truth also gives you the confidence and motivation and joy to go forward and express your truth. It's the spirit of truth is, again, those points: liberating, inspiring your mind, illuminating your darkened human intellect, healing your soul, freeing your mind of fear, anxiety.
From what I understand, and it's quite hard, especially when you think of Jesus and you think of the person, the personality itself. How can his spirit be in us? Because that's what it is. The spirit of truth is a fragment of Jesus. It's part of Jesus. It moves through Jesus, and it gives us that compass, let's say, that North Star into what is truth. So how does that, trying to fathom that, and I remember, from Sunday school that I think it was in Pentecost that, he was going to pour his soul or his spirit on us. Is that the same thing? Are we talking about this? Is that what happened in Pentecost, or can you explain a little bit more?
That's exactly what happened at Pentecost. So he said that I'm going to send a new spirit helper once I ascend to the Father. So after he resurrected himself, he traveled directly to paradise, stood face to face with the Father, was approved by the the Father, and then he sent his Spirit out, and that's what they experienced in that upper chamber. And then they rushed out to the temple in Jerusalem with total courage, joy, confidence, and went forward from there.
And this is really beautiful, in a way, when Jesus ascended to paradise, and we see that, and that's something when I was young, when he's resurrected, I said, well, why didn't he didn't stay, didn't he stay with his friends, if he was always already resurrected? He stood here, or he stayed here because he was transitioning actually to his full spiritual self. So every it was a progression, but eventually his path was not here on earth, it was in heaven. So I like this part that he releases himself through his sacrifice and his resurrection, and now he's everywhere. It's not only his spirit in his body, but now is he the spirit of truth, and his spirit, which is that, invades every person in this world, in this earth, and beyond our planet. So isn't that beautiful? Just how Jesus just kind of took everything into him. His whole universe.
Yeah, it's pretty profound, and I would encourage us not to think of it as a sacrifice, but a devotion of his entire life. It wasn't just those, that pain, those painful, that painful day or couple days of the trial and so forth at the end, but just the devotion of a total life. And yeah, it's amazing, and all of the wisdom, everything that he gained, it's been it has been spread out to people, beyond this planet. It's good to, I think, in thinking about Jesus again, a new perspective. We can't think of Jesus as the way people thought about him in the first century or in medieval times or even in this 18th, 19th centuries, maybe even the 20th century. You have to understand that he is a cosmic divine being. He is our Son of God. He's a cosmic being, so he has incredible, almost unlimited creative power for planets, stars, gas clouds, you name it, and all the beings in that. So it's more amazing than we think. It isn't, and a being like that coming here, experiencing our life, revealing man to God and God to man, and even man to himself. It's pretty profound. Pretty profound. And all of that wisdom, what we can handle, he's going to give us. He's not withholding all of that. You do not, you don't have to join a particular church. You don't have to attend a certain religion. He gives it freely to people who have faith. And that faith means you're sincere and you're hungering for the truth. It's there.
Yeah. And this is very important, Chris, that what you're saying, the way that we experience Jesus and the way that we can relate to Jesus. And you said something very important, that we don't have to go through a church. I mean, the churches are there and they can serve us and they point the way. And like I've always said, I do not deny my Catholic roots and my upbringing. It did give me the scaffolding, but it does not limit me to go to have that religious
Yeah.
ceremony in order to get closer to God. And this is something that I've said many times, and I'm going to say it again. I got to a point when I was probably 20, 21 years old in Mass in the church, that I suddenly realized that a lot of people were there not to get closer to God, but to get far away from the devil, because the church tells you the commandments. If you go once a week to church, then you got you got that written off, and you can go to heaven. But I didn't want that. I really wanted to experience God. So it got to a point where I bid my adieus to the church and said, what? And I started my path. Then I got back to rediscovering Jesus through the Urantia book, and to understanding his full self, his full potential. Not just a glimpse of him. And that's when I realized the enormity of who he is. Um, and how can we, I mean, and we were saying the path, how can somebody that's listening to us and say, what, I find these gaps, and I see that, maybe through an institutional religion, I've finished the course, but I want to continue that course. What can somebody do in order to get closer to Jesus without necessarily having to go to a church?
Follow the original teachings of Jesus. And I just want to say something about churches. I mean, I belong to a progressive church in my community. It's important. They're valuable. Now, they're humans. They make mistakes. Some churches have done horrific things, but every human institution is like that, where you're concentrating power and wealth. They all behave the same way, but there's still great value, and you can bring good things to your community. And I'm very thankful for my upbringing, but God wants me to go further. So I think it's, again, just being honest with yourself. Do you trust God? That's the first step. How much do you trust God? And if you really want to go on the adventure of discovery with God, you have to be willing to make God the priority. What God says, not what any human says or any church or institution, political party, your spouse. It's what Jesus talked about, counting the cost. What are you willing to give? And when you give all you have to God, God makes you more than you are. It's that wholehearted devotion. So the first thing is, I think, it's what Jesus taught. It's, are you truly sincere? And are you in wanting to experience God? And then the second thing, are you hungering for the truth? And if you are, that comprises your faith. So it's, how do you get to know Jesus?
Yeah.
It's accepting the experience you're already having inside. That's faith. Faith, acceptance. There's a presence of God there. Spend more time with it, accept it, and then start talking to God. Have a conversation. Very deliberately sit down every day at some time, or spontaneously, but you make some good time for God, and you talk to Jesus directly. Then you pour your heart out, whatever is in your heart. If you're angry, confused, whatever it is, you pour your heart out till you are absolutely exhausted, and then sit quietly. Listen
Magic happens.
and do it again, just like any relationship. And it's going to be difficult at first. You'll get distracted. We know that. It just happens. But gradually, you'll get better at it, and you will start to feel love. You'll start to feel the embrace. And that is literally the presence of the Master, of a cosmic Christ, coming inside you and actually holding your soul, infusing your mind and holding your soul. And that is the spirit of truth we've been talking about. So if you come in just wanting to know more truth and grow, that's great. But then the other thing is, how do you get closer to Jesus is, following his teachings, which is to devote yourself completely to the will of the Father. So when you go out and you start your day, I do this now. I take some time with Jesus. I pray for other people intensely. And then at the end, I pray for myself. I listen. What have you got to say to me? And I spend time with the Father. And then when I go into my day, now I'm ready. And, there's something the Urantia book teaches, is that if your mind is failing you, if you've got too much anxiety, whatever, just ask for it to be infused or replaced with the mind of Christ, and he
That
will
is
change
beautiful.
it.
Yeah.
He will change it all.
Yeah, and that's so important, Chris. What you were saying, that this happens in everyday life. It doesn't. I mean, one of the things that we have to really stress here, and part of what the divine within is how to live in this world that 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 is so secular, so materialistic, so
Yeah.
sometimes godless, that we have to go beyond that. We have to go I don't know, but maybe it's because I've been practicing and this for maybe the last 20 years, but I do the same thing as you do, that you live and you're communing with God, and it gets to a point where you're having this small talk where everything that you do in life, you have the acknowledgement of God, or at least say, okay, so this, and you have a living presence there. I don't know if that happens to you, but I feel him with me, in everything that I do. But you have to, and it takes time, like anything. It's in practice in order for you to get to that communion, I believe.
Yeah, exactly right. And the Urantia book points out that the secret to Jesus' life, to this incredible alignment to the will of God, was his unbroken communion with the Father. So he not only went, he'd go off in the morning and probably in the evening, I don't know, but he probably spent a considerable amount of time with God every day. I won't say how long, but he would go out and get completely infused and um, held by the Father, and he would go out through his entire day. And we can do the same thing with Jesus. And it makes all the difference in the world. It just, there's no, and we have to, he's not, there's a quote from the Urantia book. I'm going to paraphrase it, but it says something like, Jesus did not say, "Come to me, all who are indolent and are dreamers." Right? What he
It
did
was the
say is,
opposite.
"Come to me, all who labor, and I will give you rest." Or let me just say it another way: "Come to me when you trust and work your butt off, and I'll give you rest." And it's what we talked about doing many things and forgetting yourself. So it's when you let go, when you don't think about your fear, your anxiety, the benefits it'll bring to you, or how other people will think, or the repercussions when you just do the thing, then you have become self-forgetful. You've given God all you can. And then that's when actual growth occurs through tremendous exertion, but
Transformation. It's a
joyful
trans.
exertion.
Yeah, and that's so beautiful, and just we're gonna be wrapping up in a minute, but that transformation is so good. It's not just fixing the broken; it's transforming the broken. I believe.
It is. That's a beautiful thing. It's, you don't grow by saying, "I'm not going to do this bad habit anymore. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that." You grow by replacing each of those weaknesses with strength, and that light will crowd out the darkness and you will grow. That was exactly how Jesus
Yeah,
ministered to people. He didn't go in and tear down their beliefs. He extended them and illuminated them, so the light naturally eliminated that darkness. And that's what growth is about. And it's an absolute eternal progress. Whatever personal transformation you think is impossible, if you think, "Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't change in that way. Oh, that I can't get rid of that bad habit," you haven't experienced the full embrace of the Father and Jesus being held. And when you do that, you will be able to make some progress, maybe dramatic progress, but you'll be able to make progress, and you'll feel real joy.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, and it's being in that communion with the mind of Christ, like you were saying, substituting your mortal or imperfect mind to that of God, and I think that's the key. Well, thanks a lot, Chris. Can you now tell us a bit about your podcast and your ministry to our guests? I mean, to our audience.
Sure. Yeah. So it's based on this new revelation, the Urantia book. I've been reading it for 45 years. I found it in high school in 1980, and I've been studying the life of Jesus in that book, 777 pages of it, trying to live it. And it's astounding. It's beautiful, and it is an absolute extension and amplification and glorification of Jesus like you cannot imagine. So over the years, I realized that that's really the key. Although our focus should be to worship and do the will of God, the will of the Father, that was the religion of Jesus. He didn't say, "Worship me." It's about the Father. So my work is about revealing who Jesus was and his original teachings. That's it, pure and simple, based on part 4 of the Urantia book. So I've started a new. I wrote a book called Jesus Without Christianity. You can find it on Amazon. It's not an attack on Christianity. It's just saying, what were the original teachings? What do we do without a church structure? How can we go forward? The new podcast series is called "The New Revelation of Jesus: The Pre-Christian Angelic Records." And you can find that on my YouTube channel, but you can get to everything at findmynewlife.com. You can find there are links in the upper left where you can go to the YouTube channel. That's the whole series. I'm going to go through the entire life of Jesus.
And anybody that's watching this, we have the links
Yep.
below that you can go and visit Chris. I really encourage you to do this because Chris, that's why I invited him over here. He's the Jesus expert. He's been devoting a lot of his time on this, so he's got a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom, and I really enjoy talking about Jesus with Chris. And it just makes it grander all the times. Please visit him. I think that his podcasts are getting, getting to the point to what you have to know or understand about Jesus, and it's very thorough. So please visit Chris. And before we close off and we say goodbye, Chris, any remarks, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, and that's, wherever you are spiritually, thank you for listening today, and thank you if you're going to go take a look at my work as well. But just trust God. That's it. Don't don't automatically trust humans. God will take care of you, whatever your faith tradition. But please keep an open mind that Jesus is a revelation of the Father, and that this new book, the Urantia book, this new revelation might be the answer to all of your prayers for more information about Jesus. The very thing that maybe you've been asking for is in that book, and give it a chance and you will be rewarded. You will be absolutely rewarded, whether you're a spiritual person or not. You're going to be rewarded with extensive, incredible, inspiring, beautiful quotations from Jesus and so forth. The information in that book is probably, there's probably, I don't know, 40, 80 pages in the Gospels. If you cross-reference them altogether, the Urantia book has 777. It's an incredible revelation of who he was. Anyway, but it's been a great pleasure. I wish you the best on your spiritual journey.
No, thanks a lot, Chris, and thanks for participating on this podcast. We really enjoy your insights and helping us redefine Jesus, which I think is the important part of this podcast, this program in itself. So, to everybody that's watching us, thank you for participating. Thank you for listening. Like I've always said, if only subscribe if you really mean to. Remember to also hit the apart from the subscribe, hit the notice button so you can know when a new episode is coming out. And if you like it, also tell people about it. Tell them that there's a bunch of people in the Divine Within podcast talking about interesting things. Maybe they will come to like it and do some service for them. So, thank you, Chris. Just to close off this program, a few words I wanted to say is that redefining Jesus doesn't replace the gospel; it expands it. His mission was bigger than than his sacrifice. His cross was love in action, and the Spirit of Truth is still with us now. Thanks, Chris, once again for seeing or helping us see Jesus with fresh eyes. And thanks, listeners. May this mission inspire you, His love sustain you, and His Spirit guide your path. I'm Santiago Kneeland. This is the Divine Within. Take care and carpe diem.
On the Divine Within podcast, we'll share real conversations to help you find a personal connection with God. My goal is to support your faith, growth, and journey toward discovering the divine within yourself. Join us to deepen your faith and spiritual journey.